today is Wednesday, February the 24th. 7SP5, I can describe the likelihood of a probability. Probability is one of the easiest standards we can ever do in 7th grade. It's just that easy. Going back to fractions, change to decimals, how much it is. All right, vocabulary, as always, a few pieces that we do need. That's what helps us move it along. Probability is the likelihood of an event happening. Outcome is one of the possible results of an experiment. If I have a coin, what's my outcome? If I got a quarter, what's my outcome? I flip a coin, what can I get? Oh, okay, so the outcome.
Heads or tails.
Heads or tails. An event is a set of one or more outcomes, meaning exactly what it say, an outcome, a head or tail, so that means we're talking about more than one. An experiment is a procedure that can be infinitely repeated and has a well-defined set of possible outcomes. So then that experiment is when I flip that coin 25 times compared to just one time. I did it to get some data. All right, ways of describing probability. You are going to need to know these 5. The first is certain. And that's pretty much when we have a probability of 1. Don't have to write all the stuff, just you got circles. Certain is 1. Impossible, that's when an event is between or at 0. Those are the main 2 that's pretty much definite. Certain is 1, impossible is 0. We then have the third being likely is not. Likely is not is when that probability is at 1/2. So that takes us back to those benchmark fractions, 0, 1/2, and a whole. And when you compare fractions, is it closer to a half? Is it closer to that end? Or is it closer to that end? That's pretty much what we're doing with probability. So 0, that's the one that's certain. I'm going to label it like that. No, that's 1 is certain. Let me get my labels right. Then 0, we have impossible. And then we got in the middle, likely is not. And it's called likely is not because that means it could be on the lower end or the higher end. All right, we then have unlikely. That's the probability between 0 and 100. So anything that's between 0 and 100, that means it's strongly unlikely. So less that it possibly won't happen. And then we have more likely than not, the probability that is between 1/2 and a whole. You are going to need those 5 as we look at today's practice. All right, everybody got the 5? Yes, no, maybe? Shake your head up or down, nothing? All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. All right, 2 ways of looking at probability that we're going to be doing. The first thing we're going to be doing is actually finding that probability, which is writing it as a fraction. You know, fractions, the numerator is the part, and the denominator is the whole, and that remains the same even in 7th grade, part to whole. After we get that fraction, we're then going to change it to a decimal through tapping on that calculator if I need to, or some of us just remember those easy decimal values. Fraction, change to a decimal. After we change to a decimal, we're going to be describing that probability, meaning was that decimal close to 0? And I can say it'll be impossible. Was it between 0 and the 1/2? And I would say it's unlikely. Was it equally likely? Equally likely is another name for likely or not. So So if you see equal likely, both of them would mean 1/2. And then we have more likely than not, which is between 1/2 and whole, or I would ask myself, is it certain being at 1/2? So only pretty much 3 things we're doing. Writing it as a fraction, change it to a decimal. What's the characteristics of it? Any questions about it? You got your 5? All right. For the move to practice, you can go ahead and open it up. Most of you had already kind of got there. It is in Schoology in the same normal place. Today is Wednesday, so it should be titled Wednesday, February the something practice. All right, so we'll begin to look at this question. It reads, first of all, we there? Not there?
Yes, ma'am.
A few more seconds. To get there. The internet was acting up this morning. Like I told the others, even if you need to write it on a piece of paper and transfer it later, I'd rather you do that than at least put in something. Go ahead, Sid. All right, so we're gonna look at these and determine which of these would be more likely than not. Now, when you wrote that down, what characteristics do we have for more likely than not? It's between 1/2 and 1. So I'm right there to the side. What is 1/2 as a decimal? Put that up here as well. So we're looking for something that's possibly between 0.5 and 1/2. Pulling a vowel. Looking at this word impossible they gave us, how many vowels do you see? 4. Out of how many total letters?
4. 10.
I'm sure y'all looking at the screen, so if I need to count on my fingers, y'all got 5, 10? Did I miss some? What's 4/10? Somebody give us 4/10. Remember we said we're gonna write it as a fraction, change to a decimal, describe characteristics. 0.4. Is that between 1/2 and whole? Pulling a constant. So if I had 4 vowels, how many constants do we got? 6. What's 6 cents? Is that between 1/2 and whole? Yes. All right, they said pulling an E or a P. How many E's and P's we got? 2. Would 2 tenths be between 1/2 and whole? Pulling an L, M, or S?
No.
What you got for? 4. All right, so now we see why there's no IOPS. Right here. I over 10 head. Was it 5 or was it 6? Yeah, I thought it was about 6. But that's still more than 1/2. Any questions with that? So that's pretty much probability. Count how many I got. What's my total as my denominator? I'm going to tap it in the calculator, see what they gave me, and then I'm going to put the characteristics or see if it matches up to that characteristic. So we should have B and E. Questions about it? All right, number 2 told us we're going to draw a line from each probability to the word or the phrase that best describes the probability. So you'll probably have to write yours, which is fine. 1/4. What's a 4th as a decimal? So what category would I put 125? Unlikely? Between 0.5. Unlikely. What about 0.0? Impossible. That means that's just 0. It ain't happening. What about 5, 6? Why you say equal likely? It what? You want? It's in the middle, good. Or in other words, that is a half. What about 100%? That is 30. That would be 1 whole. What about 75 over 100? That would be likely, and that's between a half and a whole. Good job. Any questions about it? No. No. You good? You say you're not good? All right, it reads, consider each of the situations described below. Choose likely or unlikely to describe the probability of the outcome of the situation. A says, according to the weather report, there's a 25% chance it will snow, but then it snowed. Is that likely or unlikely? I was watching the weather this morning, they said it's a 25% chance of rain. Should it rain? That would have been unlikely. And then it snowed. So yeah, that was very unlikely. 25% chance. So you're telling me it shouldn't happen, but then it did happen. All right, B says a bag of 50 towels. We got 35 red, 10 blue, 5 green. Michael reaches in the bag and selects some red. Why you say likely? It's more red than anything. So yeah, that's more likely. All right, C said there's a 15% chance that a person wins a raffle prize, and then Miss Ragland, she won. Yeah, that's unlikely. That's like the lottery. I buy me a ticket in hopes that I don't win, but it's very unlikely that I will win. A spinner has 8 equal sized sections with 3 labeled A and 5 labeled B. She spins the spinner and it lands on B. Why say unlikely? Why you say likely? Good job. It's 5B. So that means we got more than half of it. So yes, that will be likely. Good. So if we sometimes need to reread it just to double check and see, please do so. Any questions about it? Got a spinner. Spinner shown has 8 equal sized sections. Eli spins the spinner once. Write a word or phrase from the box to correctly describe the probability that each event will occur. Now make sure you get your explanation and your rationales. I still don't look at on the answers. Some of y'all, your practice be them low scores because you don't know how to type your answers in there. If you see me writing something, you better be putting it in there, writing it with it. All right, it says landing on a number greater than 6. I say equally likely. Greater than 6? What's greater than 6? Give me your 3. Only 2? All right, so if I got 2 out of 8, what percentage might that be? Fourth or a quarter? So what ruling or label can I put with it? Unlikely. It's between 0 and half. All right, they said no, landing on the number 0. I say impossible. Landing on an odd number. I say equally likely. Mix, half and half of it. I know what that. How many greater than 2? 6. So what category would you put that down? Good job, likely. It's between a half and a whole. And then we got landing on an integer. Why say that certain? That is correct. Integer is all numbers, positives and negatives, including 0. Any questions about it? Find the probability, give the characteristic. Change it to the decimal if we need to. We got it? All right. All right, the names Jessica, Joshua, Jill, and Jimmy are written on slips of paper. The slips of paper are placed in a bag. One name is picked. They want us to name an event that is impossible, name an event that's certain, name an event that's likely as not, and name an event that's more than likely. So we'll start at the first, and the first thing they ask us for is impossible. Now, if something is impossible, what does that mean? See, it's something. Can't be done. What names did they tell us they put it in bed? So if I was to pick something and Connor told us we look for something that can't be done, what can I pick as an option that I clearly will not get? Be more specific. Be more specific. Be more specific. What you know about all these names? So give me some specific that I know I can't pull. Picking a whip. She said B. Picking a name start with B. So clearly, no name in that bag. Gotta be. The second thing they asked us for was certain. What does certain mean? It can be done, or in other words, it's all over to get one. And what was that about all those names? So picking a name, start with a J. That could be any of those names in that bag. The third thing they asked us for was likely as not. What do we know about likely as not? Just a half, straight up a half? Or was that the one with 20? Okay, you're right. It was straight up a half. So think about those names. If I got 4 names, half of that would make 2. So give us a characteristic that describes 2 of those names to where that would be probability. I like that. Picking a name with the second letter I. And then the fourth thing they asked us for was more likely than not. What category do we have for this? Good job. So between a half and a whole. So that means if two names was a half, so that means I need what category can describe three names in their base? I can't hear you. Four names. Be more specific. Just like for the last one, you said it got a second initial of I. So what characteristic can describe three of those names? So think of the names and think about what do three of those names have in common. They got a what at the end? They all got that, all four. So that won't work. Good job. Three of them have an I. So that may be something I go with. Picking a name with an I. Notice that's different than what he said for the last one, picking a name that had I as the second letter. But we can do I, and that'll give us three of those names. Good. Any questions on it? No. You see it's typing? All right, let's take that. All right, let's look at 6. 6 said, imagine that these cards are face down and we pick one. The person says, name an event that has a probability of 0. If my probability is 0, what that means? Impossible. Or in other words, it's not there. So think about what we have and think about what could be impossible. And we got one, but that won't make it impossible. Impossible means it's none of them. Picking a D, or I could have said any number of the alphabet greater than C. All right, now let's say probability of 1. So that means all of those letters. What characterizes all of those letters? All 6. C? Anybody else? A? What else? What do you recognize about those alphabets? More than one. In more than one? I don't only have one. What you know about A, B, C? The first 3 of the what? Yes. So we on 1, we gotta talk about all of them. If I say A, that's only gonna look at 3. If I say C, that's only gonna look at 1. But I can say picking the first 3 of the alphabet. That'll be all of them. The probability of half. If I got 6, how many will make a half? 3. Good. So then think about what describes 3 of those cards. The next one said between 0 and a half. If 3 made a half, that means I need something that's less than 3. What can I say about something up there that's less than 3? Picking a C. Or I could have said picking B. Just in case somebody may choose that one, they could pick that. All right, the last one said an event with a probability between a half and 1. So if a half was 3, that means I need something that's 4 or more. Five will work. What do you know about 5 cards? Which 5 you looking at? A and B. So those are the first what? Good job. The first 2 of the alphabet. Any question about how we use what they give us and then just create a scenario that could possibly happen? Any question about that? All right, y'all got it? All right, looking at number 7, they said they spent the spinner and they spent the vowel. How many vowels on that spinner? What will be our probability?
3.
3 out of 3. Wow. And regardless of what I do up there, it's gonna be a vowel. All right, dropping down to number 8. It says a meteorologist in Seattle says there's a 75% chance of rain. A meteorologist in Tacoma says there's a 1/4 chance of rain. In which city is it more likely to rain? And it's wrong. Why? Good job. I can go with that. What you had to say, Zala, was it different than what she told us up here? Well, tell us what you said. We can go with that. 75% because it's between 0 and 1/2. Kylie says Seattle because 75% is greater than 25%. Anybody else have something? All right, you can use either one of those. 1/4 is 25%. That's like thinking a quarter. Either of those, 75% or 25% chance. Good job, lady. Any questions on it? Told you probability is the easiest thing we're gonna do. All right, number 9 says Kelly said that because there are 4 equal size sections on this spinner, the probability of the spinner landing on X is as likely as not. What category do we have for likely as not? A half. All right, so ask myself, how many X's we got? How many total numbers we got? Would they give me a half? So they want us to tell why is Kelly wrong. All right, we need a little more specific. She got an even number of letters. Somebody else, why Kelly wrong? Okay. She said because X is 1/4 of the spinner, and you said something at the end, your math muffled. Instead of being at 1/2. I'm gonna add this. Likely is not mean a half, so then we'll have to rectify. I say if you know those with 5 Whereas the probability, you kind of, put it down. Probability not hard. Might can at least get in one or two more. All right, number 10 said describe each probability in words. Ooh. What can we say about 0 if I'm talking about that probability?
Impossible.
I'm gonna go with not there. Somebody earlier said not there. All right, what can we say about 7, 8? Likely than not. Why you say that? Okay, I go with that. Almost a whole, but we know it's greater than a half. All right, what about a third? All right, we're gonna come back to it. What about a 1? Certain. All right, and what we know about a half? Equally likely. All right, so now we're back at a third. Likely. All right, now we got likely than not up here to be almost a whole. Why you say unlikely? I can't hear you. All the thing you can think of, and I can go with that, and I'm gonna add is less than a half. Less than a half, or we could have said she had the other one almost at a whole, so we could have said closer to 0. And it goes. Any questions about it? Okay, I'm sorry. All right, looking at it last time, how many more? Looks like we only got 2 more. 2 more questions, 11, 12. Y'all did pretty good today. The other class will never get that far. Anywho. All right, this one reads, a gym teacher has a box of tennis balls. 3 are green, 2 are red, 4 are yellow. If you choose a ball without looking, which outcome is more likely, the A or the B? All right, the first option they gave us was a yellow ball or a red ball. Which one you say we most likely gonna get? Why you say yellow? All right, so that's gonna be our rationalization. There are more. All right, the next one said green or red, or yellow or red. How many green and red we got? All right, so that'll be 5. How many yellow or red we got? All right, so B is more likely, and what can we say? What did we just figure out? Good job. All right, the next one said red or blue. And then outcome B got purple. Which one is more likely? Why you say A? Good job. There are no purple balls. Anybody feel tight? Okay. Let me know you can breathe. Wait. Is it almost? Or you don't? We're gonna try to squeeze this in before we change real quick, if we can. All right, he said the baseball coach draws names to the side. Who would be the first player at bat? There are 5 girls and 10 boys on the team. Describe and explain the probability of each outcome. They said, what about the first batter being a girl? Not likely. That ain't one of our categories. Give us correct name with it. Likely. How many girls we got? How many total players we got? What can we say about 5 field teams? Equal to a third. So what would that be as a probability? Unlikely. And I could say between 0 and 1. Or you could say it was 1/3, which is about 33%. All right, then let's say the first batter is a boy. Yes, more likely than not. And why could we say that? There are more what? More boys than girls. Good job. Any questions about it? All right, go ahead and finish getting what you need. Y'all made it through the entire practice today, so that means everybody should be submitting this assignment. We made it all the way through the end. All right, those of you at home, hope you have a great rest of your day. Those who are in here, you can begin to clean your area.
Have a good day.
You too, Destiny.
Have a good day, Miss Catching.
Have a good day.
See you later, Destiny.
See you later.